The last few weeks, there's been a lot of talk about the evolution of artificial intelligence and about the role it will play in society. Now, in order for artificial intelligence to have evolved, there were any number of other areas in which research led into the concept of artificial intelligence. And like everything else, what we think will be the result of having artificial intelligence more developed is not what's necessarily going to end up being the role artificial intelligence plays. But for now, they're talking about the role of artificial intelligence in education and how it's going to play a large role in teaching and learning in the future. And I have no doubt but that it will find its way into the classroom. But I want to have it on record before I go any further that I do not believe in any way that that means that there will not be a role for the classroom teacher or the parent. Going forward, there will always be the need for a classroom teacher to or a parent to mediate between the technology and the student. We are, after all, humans and we are motivated by emotions. And only that is what we begin with in education. It's the relationship we develop. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't be able to pull in other things. I can see how something like artificial intelligence will make the difference in how we go about teaching certain things. The last video I made, I was thinking about how when I was in grade 13, we had to dissect frogs because biology was a compulsory course in high school in grade 13 in Ontario. And we had a half a year of botany and a half a year of zoology. And of course, botany refers to plants and zoology to animals. And one of the things we did was we dissected a frog. Now, today, nobody wants to think about dissecting a frog, but think about being in a classroom where artificial intelligence is used to create a frog and for a student to manipulate how you dissect a frog, given instructions, because with artificial intelligence, there can be instructions all at the same time as the student is doing something. That's something that we don't want to think about in the classroom anymore. I don't think there's a high school in Ontario or many other places in the world where students are any different today than they were when I was in school. Nobody likes the smell of formaldehyde, and nobody wants to willingly have to start using a scalpel and pincers and all of that to open up a frog. And nobody wants to think about the pain of catching those frogs and then preserving them. So artificial intelligence would play a role. As the students mature, artificial intelligence will play an increasing role because it allows us to use the concept of robotics and wireless technology and create scenarios where students can actually experiment with the things they want to try to do. I've talked about the importance of creativity and allowing students to create something. Imagine if in high school students can use artificial intelligence to manipulate shapes in space and to build and to populate a square, for instance, and to see what happens and to learn as a result. We always want our students to make mistakes because they learn by making their mistakes. You set a challenge. You want them to think and play around with ideas, and you want them to manipulate things in real time. Now, artificial intelligence will expand the repertoire of things they can manipulate and look at from different perspectives and talk about and freeze frame so they can consider all those things. As I'm sitting here and talking to you about the use of artificial intelligence, I'm excited because I wish I could be in a classroom where I could do all of those things. The idea of combining desktop wireless technology and robotics and artificial intelligence and helping students learn how to create code and manipulate things in space. Just imagine the breadth of learning. It won't be for everybody, but one thing we have learned is that when students use technology, they're more engaged in their learning because they're actually playing around in real time with ideas that they can see and manipulate and watch on the screen. So, when you read about artificial intelligence and how it's going to play a role in the classroom, think about what that role might look like and how we will tell the students what they're going to do. We, the teachers, that's what I wanted to say. Again, I go back to the idea that no matter what it is in technology that we're using, we, the classroom teachers, are the ones using the technology to reach our students. We're the ones with the knowledge. We're the ones with the expertise on teaching and learning, or should be, anyways. And hopefully that will translate into how we integrate all these tools. When I was teaching at Niagara University about the use of technology, one of the things I wanted my students to understand was that technology is just a tool. We have been inventing tools as humanity, as humankind, from the beginning of time. Fire is a tool. An axe is a tool. A pen is a tool. A printing press is a tool. A computer is a tool. And all tools are manipulated by humans to accomplish certain tasks. The more sophisticated societies become, the more sophisticated the niches that these tools all fill. So today, when we talk about painting a picture, we don't paint with just one type of brush, we paint with hundreds, literally hundreds of different brushes with different handles and different lengths and different kinds of bristles, whether they're natural or artificial, and whether or not we're using oil paint or watercolor or vinyl paints or all of the different varieties. But at the end of the day, a tool is a tool is a tool, and we manipulate the tools. The idea of artificial intelligence is so mind boggling to imagine that we would have classrooms and schools where artificial intelligence plays a role. But I don't think that's any more mind boggling than when I first started to use computers and I used to hold up a Palm Pilot that was an organizer for people, for business people and teachers and that. And I used to say, this is what computers will be like in the future. The only question was how big they might become, or I mean, how small they might become, or how big they might become. And now artificial intelligence is the same way. So no need to be afraid. Be excited and turned on.